Hi, friends! Welcome back! Before we jump into today's wild adventure, please like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to hit the bell notification because my mother still refuses to learn how it works. Every time I upload a video, she calls me and says, "Oh, I didn't know you posted. The bell didn't ring." And I say, "Mom, that's literally the point of the bell. I don't want her confusion passing on to you. So please tap it before she convinces you it's optional." Also, make sure to check out my Amazon links in the description. As an Amazon associate, I earn a commission from qualifying purchases, and those purchases help fund my ability to survive the chaos of my life, which today involves a library book that broke the laws of reality. So, let's get into it. This all started when I decided to go to the library. I know, Shaking. A responsible decision, area momento. My brain was actually trying to be productive for once. I walked in like a majestic scholar, pretending I knew what I was doing. I wandered into the fiction section, tripped over a beanbag chair that definitely wasn't supposed to be there, and landed directly in front of this one shelf, labeled not for public use. Naturally, I said, I should touch that. And I did. There was a single book on the shelf. Old, dusty, with a cover that looked like it had been designed by someone who couldn't decide what genre it was supposed to be. It had a pirate ship, a spaceship, a dragon, a chef's hat, and what might have been a haunted toaster.
I said, "Ah, yes, literature." So I picked it up.
The librarian popped out from behind a shelf like a ninja and whispered, "That book chooses you." Then she vanished. I stood there like, okay. Dramatic much, but I checked the book out anyway because I'm incapable of ignoring mysterious warnings.
That's how every one of my problems starts.
I went home, sat on my couch, and opened the book. The page glowed, which, by the way, is not normal for books. Books are supposed to sit quietly and smell like paper and disappointment. But this book glowed like it had just been charged by the sun. Suddenly, the words rearranged themselves into a pirate story.
I gasped. I flipped to the next page. It became a story about astronauts.
I flipped again now. It was a detective story. Again now, it was a fantasy world with a dramatic elf who looked like he moisturizes more than I do. I closed the book, confused. When I opened it again, it changed again. This time, it was a romance plot where two sandwiches fell in love. I said, okay, this book is broken. But I couldn't stop reading it. Every time it changed genres, it became more ridiculous. Then something completely unhinged happened. The characters started talking not in general, but to me.
The pirate captain yelled,
"Ahoy! Why the close?" The detective complained. "I was this close to solving my case, and you interrupted me," the sandwich couple said. "We were having a moment." I dropped the book. It landed face up, and an astronaut popped halfway out of the page like, "Oh, hi! Is this the wrong dimension?" I screamed. They screamed.
I screamed again.
It was a whole moment. The pirate captain climbed out of the book entirely, stumbled into my living room, and immediately got caught in my curtains like a confused seaweed burrito. The detective walked out next, looked around, and said, "This is the worst crime scene I've ever seen." Rude. I vacuumed. Recently. At one point, the sandwich couple slid out of the book and started arguing about who was the better half. And honestly, I didn't have the emotional energy to deal with romance problems between two slices of bread. The astronaut floated out last and said, "Gravity feels weird here." And I said, "Yeah, join the club." I had a living room full of story characters all arguing, complaining, and bumping into my furniture like a chaotic theater troupe. I said, "Okay, everybody, stop." But they didn't stop. No one ever listens to me. Not even fictional carbs. Suddenly, the book snapped open by itself and displayed a message across the pages that said, "Final quest initiated." I said, "Final? What now?" The pirate captain gasped and said, "The book hath chosen its hero, and unfortunately, that hero was me." According to the book, it was malfunctioning, genre shifting uncontrollably, whatever that means, and needed me to help find its true ending, I said. I literally failed English class in the 9th grade. I am not qualified for this, the detective said. You'll be fine. Probably. My confidence was not boosted. The book sucked us all inside in a giant swirl of light. Suddenly, we were in a blank white void. No scenery, no background, just endless nothing. The astronaut floated around like he was back in space. The pirate captain swung his sword at the air dramatically. The sandwiches were arguing again. I said, "Why am I here?" And the book spoke. Yes, the book literally spoke and said, "To fix my story, you must create the perfect ending." I said, "I can't even finish my homework." The book explained that I had to choose one genre for the ending: mystery, fantasy, sci-fi, romance, anything but I had to commit. The pirate yelled, "Adventure!" The detective yelled, "Mystery!" The astronaut yelled, "Space!" The sandwiches yelled, "Toasted romance." I said,
I need quieter characters.
The book gave me a glowing pen and said, "Write the ending." The moment I touched the pen, the void transformed. Suddenly, we were standing on a floating island with waterfalls, glowing trees, rainbow bridges, magical creatures that looked like a fantasy world drawn by someone who drank too much coffee. The pirate charged forward, yelling, "This be perfect," the astronaut said. "There is zero scientific accuracy here." And the detective complained that nothing made sense. Meanwhile, the sandwich couple was taking selfies. I realized I had to choose an ending that made everyone happy. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. But I tried. I wrote a scene where the detective solved a mystery by finding a hidden treasure, which made the pirate happy. I added floating space crystals so the astronaut could study the atmosphere. I wrote a romantic picnic for the sandwiches. It was ridiculous. It was chaotic. But somehow, it worked. The book glowed again, brighter than before, and all the characters were pulled back into their proper stories.
Before disappearing, the pirate saluted me. The detective tipped his hat.
The astronaut floated away dramatically, and the sandwiches said, "We'll name our first child after you," which I did not need. The book snapped shut, stopped glowing, and looked normal again. I returned it to the library the next morning. The librarian saw me, smiled knowingly, and said, "Did it behave?" I said, "Absolutely not." She said, "Good. It likes you." And that is how a library book sent me on a cross-genre quest to fix its personality. Before I go, please like, subscribe, and comment. Don't forget to hit the bell like my mother, who is still fighting with it like it's a mythical beast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.